The Robbins-Madonna Center for Strategic Intervention is dedicated to creating greater harmony and effectiveness in social systems, ranging from families to corporations to government organizations, and to the development of a more cohesive and civil community. Anthony Robbins is one of the world's premier authorities on the psychology of leadership, negotiations, organizational turnaround, and peak performance. In this series of films, you'll see a variety of his interventions as analyzed by Chloe Madonis, world-renowned author and teacher of psychotherapy.
Imagine you've built your business into a multi-million-dollar corporation. Your friends and family are asking you to invest their money. You're able to help so many people, and imagine waking up to find that it's all gone.
13-year career went away. I got wiped out by my stockbroker. I'd talked to him the day before about being conservative. He put me in 3 positions to wipe me out in 7 days. And the money that was wiped out isn't mine. I'm at a point in a month or two, I'm out of all dollars. More than financial is my letting myself down, my vision of who I am.
The loss of your identity.
The sense of my soul being competed for and torn apart. Money is the underpinning of our society. Suicide is a solution to an economic dilemma. What I can do is I can pay Laura back. The asset I do have is a life policy.
Well, you can't pay her back if you're gone.
No, yes, I can. The proceeds are named to her. I know it would pain her tremendously that she got this money by my not being here, but I know what it'll pain her a hell of a lot more if she doesn't have her money.
I will not let you be this selfish, because the guilt that she will have when you're gone, that you believe that nothing mattered but money, and that she wasn't able to get across to you that she really loved you, will destroy her life and everyone she cares about. And if you're going to be that selfish, I got to protect her from you.
Well, I don't give you permission to do that.
Well, I don't really think you have any authority over me.
And imagine that you could turn it all around in one day.
If I'd lost all my assets, but I didn't have obligations to other people.
I know, and you know what would happen then? You would not grow to become the man you're about to become.
Anthony Robbins in a live, uncut, personal transformation film. Conquering overwhelming loss.
Hi, I'm Tony Robbins. I want to thank you for joining me for this film. I think you're going to find in the next few minutes you're going to be exposed to some great tools to not only make a difference in your own life, shift the things you want to shift, change the things you want to change as rapidly as possible, but maybe even more importantly, learn some tools that you can use to help those you really care about most. Whether you're a leader of a large organization with thousands of people that you want to be able to make a move and help them to shift now, or whether you're a therapist, a helping professional, a parent, or maybe just a good friend who really just cares and you want to make a difference, I think what you're going to see in this film will have a deep impact upon you and empower you to make that difference you've been looking for. Let me give you a little background on myself, if I may, just for a moment. I've been pursuing an obsession for 25 years, and that obsession is the answer to a question, which is what makes people do the things they do? Why do we do the things we do the way we do them? And I've had the privilege now of working with people from 80 countries around the world, more than 3 million people from virtually every walk of life. From the kids addicted to cocaine in the South Bronx to the top CEOs in Hollywood addicted to cocaine. You know, the same patterns that we see everywhere in the world, from top athletes, presidents of countries and companies, to parents and children. And during that time, I've begun to see that there are patterns to human behavior. And I've had a unique experience living at this time in human history where I've been able to be with people from not only diverse areas, but diverse parts of the world. Those patterns stand out. You begin to see that what people do is somewhat predictable. In these films, we're going to start to see how we really approach our lives and how we can really change them. Now, one of the biggest challenges we all have as a society is our culture teaches us to believe that we have limitation. It teaches us to believe that we are the product primarily of our environments. And in fact, the solution in most cases is to drug somebody. More and more we see this determinism. But anyone who's honest with himself, with just a basic investigation, can see that often in life, It's the people that are given everything. They have tremendous love from their family. They have a great education, great background, economic choices. Very often those same people that are given everything don't turn out so well. They may spend the rest of their life going in and out of rehab. And then we find other people that seemingly have every challenge imaginable. They are ignored, they're abused mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually. They don't have the advantages of the education, and somehow very often those individuals become the people in society who contribute the most back, those that inspire us and those who touch us. So there's no clear answer that life turns out a certain way because of a certain thing. One thing is clear. We have the power of choice, and the decisions we make day to day about two things, what things mean and what we're going to do, shapes our destiny. And what do I mean? Well, what these films are really about are the lessons of life mastery. Those lessons in life that none of us are really taught, because no matter how successful we become, life is always going to be there with a surprise. I don't care how happy you are right now or successful, there's a challenge waiting, and that's not being negative, it's being real, and we both know it. So these films are about the real challenges that show up for real people. They are raw experiences, but showing you how change can happen faster than you may have ever thought before, and giving the tools to make it happen. In fact, what's unique about these films, I think more than anything I've ever been a part of, is if you read a book or if you listen to tapes, someone can work with you and they can show you, here's the challenge, here's the solution, here's how to go about it. But in these films, you have the unique experience of witnessing the transformation as it happens. And as you witness it, you get a chance to experience it within yourself, and then you have a chance to go back and master it. That is to make these same changes in yourself, and maybe if you'd like to, be able to use the tool to help someone else that you really care about. There is one challenge, though. Normally, when you sit down to watch a DVD or go to a movie, they've spent $200 million to make that thing. And they planned it so that the moment that popcorn enters your mouth, boom, something's happened in those first few seconds to grab you. I mean, the explosion goes off. The bank robber breaks out. There's that sensual tension that you know is happening between these two people, and something's going to happen. Well, life's got a challenge. It's messy. And so in the beginning of these films, you got to stay with me for the first 10 or 15 minutes. Because those first 10 or 15 minutes, what I've got to do is what you've got to do. I've got to get into what's really going on with these people. Because so often in life, when people tell you what their problem is or their challenge is, it isn't what it really is. You know that from your own life experience. So the first part is kind of like diagnosing what's going on. So stay with those first 10 or 15 minutes, and then you'll get hooked. Because then you'll start to witness your life or the life of somebody you really care about or somebody you work with right there before your eyes, and you'll be seeing the changes happen, and you'll be learning. Because we all learn best when we don't know we're learning. When you watch a movie, if it's a great movie, you associate to the main character and you experience what they're feeling, their challenges, their upsets, and ultimately their triumph. The same thing happens here, only it's based on something that's real. Now, the final thing I'll tell you is this, that you also have to be aware that I'll do anything to help someone to break their pattern. Because what stops us are these limiting beliefs, these limiting behavioral or emotional patterns. And I'll do anything. I'll make myself look like an idiot. I'll be silly, stupid, weird, bizarre, gross, sexual, anything. I'll use some adult language, and I'm not using that to be, harsh or to interrupt the person in a mean way. But if you know anything about the tradition of Freud, he understood that most of us use language as a defense mechanism to kind of stay in our box. If you ask somebody, how's it going, very often they'll say things like, oh, pretty good. And it's not good at all. If they were to be honest, you'd get very different language. So to break that pattern, I'll use words that'll be more provocative. If I said to you something like your rear end, you have one reaction. But if I use the word ass, it may jolt you. And obviously there'll be words that'll be a little more intense than that. And finally, the narrator here is Chloe Madonis. Chloe is a world-famous psychotherapist and trainer of psychotherapists around the world. If you're a therapist, I'm sure you know who she is. And her job is not to entertain you, but as we're doing this, to point out what we're doing so you understand how to make the shifts that are occurring in yourself and in the other people that you might want to help later on as well. This is one of a series of films. This is a system, Lessons in Mastery. Each one promises a different set of lessons, a different set of skills, and a different kind of transformation for you or anybody you want to share this film with who's watching. I will tell you that in life, at different stages, we're interested in different things. It's maybe right now your business is going really great, so you're all excited about that, but maybe your personal life is not quite where you want it to be. Or if your personal life's great, maybe your intimate relationship's not where you need it to be. Or if that's great, do you have enough time with your kids? If that's great, what's happening with your health? If that's great, what's happening with your finances? So at different times, different things will appeal to us, but you'll find that each film has a universal lesson. one that can penetrate beyond the facade of what we think we want right now and to what we really need. Because the base of this all is really understanding human needs. When you understand that, you can experience not just achievement, not just success, not just happiness, but fulfillment. And that ultimately comes not just from meeting our own needs, but finding a way to really serve beyond ourselves. Growth and contribution are the ultimate human needs. I hope as you watch, you experience that expansion of yourself. And if you do, I hope I have a chance someday to meet you and hear the story of how you've used this to make a difference.
This series of personal transformation films is a comprehensive system for creating change in your life as well as helping others, covering topics such as creating passion in your life, growing and enjoying your relationships, intelligent parenting, living your true purpose, overcoming personal loss, finding inner strength, making life decisions, and creating leadership in times of crisis.
In this film, you're going to get to experience someone making a transformation after enormous loss. And we've all experienced losses in our life, and we will again in our future. That doesn't sound very positive, but it's very real. And being prepared for that would be very valuable for us because it allows us not to get that punch in the gut that takes our wind away. We can predict certain things. We're going to lose family or friends. There are going to be career opportunities we're going to lose. We're going to experience disappointments. But some losses we just brush off. We deal with them very easily. Others take us to the core of our fear and of our pain. Some losses are so huge that some people are willing to take their life rather than have to face the loss of identity. What I believe is that the strongest force in the human personality is the need to remain consistent with how we define ourselves. In this case, this man lost millions of dollars. He lost his identity as an achiever. He lost his relationships with a variety of people. But the real loss was not money, it was identity. For some people, they identify with their relationship, and so they can lose all the money and be fine, but if they lost that singular relationship, they don't feel like there's a reason to live. For others, it's a loss of faith that'll take them there. Everyone has their point that'll push them over the edge. The secret in this film is not only to witness and experience his transformation, but to see how you could use these tools to help yourself and others to realize that all loss is temporary. No problem is permanent. Only our souls are permanent. Well, that may sound like a phrase. We all know that there's something inside of us that's greater than circumstances, something inside of us that's greater than anything that could happen to us. Finding that part of ourselves, finding that inner strength that's already within us and tapping into it consistently so that we serve beyond ourselves is what this film is really about. So whether you've lost money, friends, family, businesses, opportunities, relationships, whatever you think you've lost, loss is an illusion. Time to restore that illusion back to the reality that all your needs, those human needs, can be met the moment you get outside yourself and find a way to serve. I hope you enjoy this film, and I know that in the moments that follow, there'll be moments that maybe you'll get hooked, either by things you know that affected you or by people that you care about. Watch and take notes as if you were going to use this to help someone you care about, because someday it may you found these tools to be invaluable in making a difference you're not even prepared for. And I really appreciate and I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve you in this way. My heartfelt wish is that it serves you and it serves many other people in the years to come. Please join me now as you listen in to Dr. Chloe Madanes.
Every one of us has something in our life that we care so deeply about that it is tied to our sense of identity, our self-esteem, our sense of self. For some, it is a relationship or a position in the community. And for some, it is financial success. When a loss in this important area occurs, we can experience a loss of identity, leading to feelings of despair. All of us in the course of our lives will come across circumstances that seem difficult or impossible to overcome. This film will outline the steps that must be taken in such times to bring out the best in yourself and to create a compelling future for yourself and others. Our story begins at a week-long Anthony Robbins Leadership Conference of about 2,000 participants. The conference is attended by a variety of people who are seeking to improve their leadership skills, from Fortune 500 executives to college students, entrepreneurs, homemakers, and professional people from all over the world. In order to illustrate how quickly it is possible to transform serious life problems, Robbins asks for the people who are most discouraged in the face of extreme personal challenges to stand up for a one-to-one conversation. In any group of 2,000 people, no matter where they are from, there are usually 6 to 12 people who are experiencing suicidal thoughts. In this case, Robbins calls on Jim, a man who was facing extraordinary financial challenges that had driven him to despair. In the 1990s, Jim had grown a corporation that served the handicapped from the startup level to a $24 million business. In 2002, however, a change in government policy killed his business. In the same year, he also suffered a disastrous loss in his personal investments, as well as losing the life savings of a close friend. Faced with this loss, Jim found himself unable to imagine a future for himself. This film will show you how Jim was able to turn his life around in one day from suicidal despair and financial shame to a greater understanding of himself and the satisfaction of living his life's true purpose. 1 year later, Jim is happy and enthusiastic about his life and his work. This is the story of one man's journey from pain to freedom. So let's begin when Jim first stood up in the midst of despair to speak with Anthony Robbins.
I'm Jim.
Okay. And you're suicidal?
I have been focused on it for the last month, and suicide is, I've not been in the state where, I actually love life, and what has occurred is I've gotten myself in a situation where suicide was not so much a thought, it was a solution. It is a solution to an economic dilemma. This last year has been disastrous financially, and where about a year ago I was almost at a peak, the best it ever been.
Yes.
It's been a very difficult ride to have it be so negative. Yes. Financially, and probably more than financial is the who you are. A 13-year career went away.
So loss of your identity.
Yeah, very much so. And in fact, the identity is what has had me so ideation with the concept of suicide because in order, even though I may cease to be, I actually can preserve the identity that I believe that I am. And these things I'm saying to you I've learned in the last few days and how to language it to you.
Yeah, I understand.
Robbins and Jim have just agreed on Jim's problem. Jim has suffered a financial disaster, but the real problem is that his life conditions have changed and he feels that he has lost his identity. Robbins' game plan will be to help Jim conquer his sense of pain and loss so he can resolve his financial situation and be happy again.
What's been going on is just the sense of my soul being competed for and torn apart. And so hour to hour this morning was horrendous. I considered leaving the seminar. I just didn't think maybe it was appropriate for me to be in here. And yet I've waited 5 years since I discovered you had it and to come to the Mastery Series, and this is I've been waiting for this. What the dilemma is just simply I'm sorry?
You've said a couple things. Before you go further, I want to note two things. Number one, ladies, if you really want to understand a man and have compassion instead of hate or frustration for them, hear what this man just told you. He would die to maintain his sense of significance.
Robbins makes Jim's issue the property of the whole room in the sense that men will identify with his problem and women are being asked to understand it. Robbins attends to the needs of the whole group while speaking with an individual, so that as the individual changes for the better, so does the entire audience.
Significance and love.
I know that's what you really want. But
I want to preserve it with those that love me.
How will you preserve your love if you die? You only preserve the identity. You won't preserve your love. That's a fucking lie.
Well, I don't see it that way. I mean, I haven't up to now. I'll certainly be open to what you're saying. I don't see it that way.
I know you'll be open to it.
Okay.
Just as Jim is explaining the justification for suicide, Robbins interrupts him using intense language. The purpose is to jolt Jim out of those dangerous thoughts so that he has to find another solution.
How many heard that when he said it, by the way, that he would Preserve the identity. At least by dying, he preserves the identity. Men will die to preserve their identity. Right? The second thing, as you said this morning, was horrendous. Which part of the morning was horrendous?
Showing up, being not the processes that were being done, just the state, the thoughts, the state, and as much as possible being here, present in what we're doing, and in the background, this constant filtering of, okay, this is the step you need to take. No, that's not a solution. Yes, it is. I mean, just the constant background noise that filters through while participating.
So not feeling like you can be clear.
Yeah. And
feeling turmoil.
I'm sorry?
And feeling turmoil?
Tremendous conflict, yeah. Tremendous.
What's the biggest conflict?
The biggest conflict is my letting myself down, my vision of who I am for several years. Your vision of who you are. And in this last year, in many ways, I've let that down, not by overt intention, like, no, I don't care, but I ended up had a person invest in me. I was cooking, a very dear friend. She invested in me, and she was like, oh, can I just, she kind of threw money at me. I was like, oh, wow, and it was kind of a new experience. I've dealt with businesses, but to have somebody believe in you that much. I invested some through a series of stuff. I got wiped out by my stockbroker. I'm very much involved in it as well. I mean, this isn't like, oh, all them. But it was a surprise. I'd talked to him the day before about being conservative. He put me in 3 positions, so wiped me out in 7 days. And the money that was wiped out isn't mine. It was mine to steward, and I thought I was stewarding it. I had made other investments even like this. I mean, into the knowledge base and what I would go do in my, in a business, that sort of thing. The point is, I'm now, I was laid off a few months ago in a career in an executive position, and all that, I've been learning how much I valued the prestige, and I will say I used it very, not only effectively, but not as well, I'm a big guy. I mean, I had a lot of people that reported to me. I took very good care of them. When I left, I was extremely acknowledged by lots of my staff, and but I realized, I went from daily. I had this massive purpose. It was a charity. We had a mission I really supported, and I went to I'm absolutely insignificant. It doesn't matter if I get up or not. Now, there's a ton of feel sorry in here, and I know it, but I'm also sharing with you honestly. It's been there. It's driven me. I've allowed it to run me.
You don't need to apologize. It's a very different situation.
Well, I'm trying. Thank you. I'm looking to give you the essence of it without all the kind of, just. It kind of sucks. So that's the bottom line of it. But
this is a man describing suicide.
Well, where that comes in is this. It hit me a little while ago. I got wiped out of my assets. I'm at a point in a month or two, I'm out of all dollars. In retirement fund, everything, zero. It's gone.
You race cars? Race motorcycles?
I do. That's good memory.
Robbins responds to Jim's story by looking for the emotional resources in Jim that will help him overcome his problem. Robbins asks about Jim's hobby of racing in order to get him to talk about the part of his self that enjoys risk and adventure. Watch how Jim's manner changes as he talks about racing.
Yeah, I do. In all likelihood, unless, change things, I'm not going to be able to pursue that continuous because it's fairly expensive. But
how fast they go? Over 100 miles an hour, right?
We have one car that'll do it 200. I've done 150. Miles? Yeah, I've done 150 on mine.
Was that how you plan to do it?
No, not at all. No, it's not like that. It's not this big drama thing. It's just that what I can do is I can pay Laura back. The asset I do have is a life policy.
Well, you can't pay her back if you're gone.
No, yes, I can. The proceeds are named to her.
But it won't be you paying it back. It'll be insurance companies. So you'll basically given the responsibility to somebody else.
I don't know that, I love this woman. She is a sister-in-law, former sister-in-law, my ex-wife and her, and I've still been very close with her, my ex-wife, the family, etc. I don't know that you said it won't matter to her. I think it's a huge difference. Money is the underpinning of our society. And I won't get real philosophical, and I just think it'll mean, I know it would pain her tremendously that she got this money by my not being here, but I know what it'll pain her a hell of a lot more if she doesn't have her money.
Jim, can I just tell you something? I am going to send her this videotape.
I'm what?
I said I am going to send her this videotape.
You're going to send her this videotape?
Yes.
Well, I don't give you permission to do that.
Well, I don't really think you have any authority over me.
That may be so, but I'm still. You certainly don't have my permission to do it.
I understand.
The confines of this room are what I came in as a premise of what we're doing here. And that's exactly how I stood up. I know.
I know, and I know I've lost all your trust right now, but
not all of it, but survival. Yeah, I just going in panic here.
Robbins must do everything in his power to prevent Jim from even considering suicide as an option.
Because I've been wrestling with what else can I do. It's not just what else.
No, it's because I will not let you be this fucking selfish, because the guilt that she will have when you're gone, that you believe that nothing mattered but money, and that she wasn't able to get across to you that she really loved you, will fucking destroy her life and everyone she cares about. And if you're going to be that fucking selfish, I got to protect her from you. This isn't about taking care of you.
Okay. Well, then, fine. That's you asked. That's
how
the
much
dilemma I've been
How much guilt would she have if you killed yourself and she knew you did this as a calculated task to just give her money back?
I don't know, Tony. I suspect that it'll be a hell of a lot less than not having her money.
Well,
yeah. Well, that's easy to say.
Hang on a second. Then why don't we just resolve this by the truth?
Yeah. And I tell you what else is the truth. Before you go on, the one other truth is, I don't know. Part of it is I can't live with, and I'm not. I've been back and forth with this.
I just have to tell you the second piece.
I'm sorry?
It's no longer an option because I also have a copy for the insurance company and they won't pay now.
I'm living proof they won't pay.
Okay. I didn't know that. Fine.
You didn't know that they don't pay when people commit suicide?
Actually, I've heard of it being different. After 2 years, it doesn't matter how you go.
No. That's if you jump out of a plane, skydiving, something like that. Okay. Not if you calculate your death. They will not pay.
Okay.
Anybody in the insurance business here so they can clarify the facts? Okay.
Okay, fine. The part of the point of standing up when you asked, because this has been, look, this hasn't been all so much about I'm going to die. It's more that there's the presence of that thought that has so ran me for the last while, and I'm so anxious in coming here to.
So the question is, do you want to resolve this now since that's not an option, or because I'm happy to help you resolve it?
Robbins has taken the strong position with Jim that he would not be a passive witness to Jim's suicidal plans, and that he would eliminate the financial benefits Jim sought in suicide. He destroys Jim's justifications for killing himself. Now Jim has to face his loss and find a future. When suffering a loss or a drastic change in life conditions, you must take certain steps to overcome the grief, adapt to the new situation, recover your sense of purpose, and create a future. Robbins guides Jim through 7 steps for creating a compelling future. First, evaluate your initial response to the new situation. Second, identify the needs you want to satisfy. Third, understand the side benefits of staying in despair. 4. Define your true purpose. 5. Find multiple ways of achieving your purpose. 6. Shift your body. 7. Create a compelling future. Robbins has just taken Jim through step 1. Evaluate your initial response to the new situation. When faced with a loss, most people have a strong initial reaction. You must look at this initial response and ask yourself, is this good for me and for others, or is it destructive? If it is not good for you and for others, discard it. As soon as Robbins heard about Jim's suicide plan, he knew he would stop at nothing to prevent Jim from acting upon it. The second step is to identify what needs you want to satisfy. According to Robbins, people are motivated by 6 human needs. The need for certainty, variety, significance, that is feeling worthy, important, connection, love, growth, and contribution. The first 4 are the needs of the personality. Everyone must satisfy them in some form. The last 2 are spiritual needs. When facing a crisis, the best response is to focus on growth and contribution to others. In order to understand the needs you are trying to meet, ask yourself, what needs was I trying to meet initially? What needs matter most to me now? What actions could I take to meet those needs? One reason why people experience intense pain during times of change is that they have focused on only 1 or 2 ways of meeting their needs. Jim believed that he could not be loved unless he was accomplished and successful. When his life conditions changed, he thought he would never be loved again, and so he considered suicide. In order to stay alive, Jim must find new ways to meet his needs. He must be able to experience love, growth, and contribution no matter what the external circumstances.
But I also have to tell you that you've been feeding yourself by doing this as well.
This.
Because the feed that you've been giving yourself is you have an enormous amount of guilt because you have a heart of gold. I can see how much of a connection man you are. You've been living operationally for significance, but you really are driven by love.
I got that the other night, how misplaced my years and years, probably my marriage, the significance versus the love and connection.
Robbins makes a distinction between love and significance, which is the need to feel worthy of love. When people seek the feeling of significance, they are seeking some way to prove their worthiness of love instead of experiencing love and connection directly.
But right now, that's not what's driving you. Love is driving you, but also you're letting the significance still drive you but you still have a love filter on it. Do you understand the difference?
You might just have to say that again. I don't think I got it.
Okay. And thank you for going in and feeling. Because that's where the answers will be. They won't be in your head. Because your head doesn't have answers for this, but your heart always has answers. You're a heartfelt man. That's why I have to make sure you can't use these tools. But honestly, I did that just to trap and stimulate the masculine part of you for a moment and to see whether or not you'd still trust. And I thank you for still trusting me partially. You really do trust me completely.
Absolutely. I have since I got your tapes.
So I want to tell you something. I know you've thought these thoughts, and now you really are the kind of man that would sacrifice for love.
The quest for significance often occurs when one doesn't know that what one is really seeking is love. Robbins will show Jim that his drive for significance is really a drive for love. Since business success is not essential to a love life, Jim will see that he can still experience the emotion he values most. This gives him a compelling future.
When you talked about leaving the business, you talked about significance, but you had a tear in your voice, a cry in your voice when you talked about the people saying goodbye to you. There's a big difference, my friend. You are a love monger. You are a love bug. You desperately want love above all else.
In times of crisis, some people engage in self-destructive thoughts and behaviors because they provide certain side benefits. These side benefits may seem to offer short-term relief, but eventually they are destructive for everyone. Together with self-destructive thoughts and behaviors comes despair, the feeling of loss of hope. Even though despair is such a painful emotion to experience, it is often sustained because it makes us feel cared for by others and released from our responsibilities. Here are the main side benefits of staying in despair. 1. Despair reduces the sense of guilt because it feels like a form of penance. 2. Despair brings sympathy from others, even love. 3. Despair justifies abandoning relationships with family and friends with the idea that they will be better off without the desperate person. 4. Despair is an excuse for avoiding obligations and responsibilities. 5. Despair is a way of punishing others who feel they must help and yet fail to help. 6. Despair makes it difficult for significant others to leave because it would mean abandoning a desperate person. 7. Despair justifies indulging in addictions and other self-destructive but pleasurable behaviors. 8. Despair, especially when it comes together with a threat of suicide, is a way to dominate others who, afraid to upset the desperate person, will walk on eggshells. There are two basic types of motivation behind despair: benign and hostile. Because despair is a cry for help, it can lead to benign feelings of connection and caring. Yet indulging in despair is also a way of imposing on those who care. The benign and hostile motivations behind despair often contradict each other and create an impossible situation. While despair gives a sense of doing penance, it also justifies avoiding responsibility. While despair brings sympathy, it is also a way of punishing others. While despair justifies abandoning relationships, it also makes it difficult for people to leave the person in despair. Someone in despair will typically focus on benign motivations and will fail to recognize the pain inflicted on others. The first step out of despair is to become aware of these 8 side benefits and their consequences. Robbins understood the side benefits of despair, so as Jim presented his reasons for suicide, he refuted them one by one.
So having said that, what I see is 2 things. Number one, that it's not a possibility now because no one would pay, so it's a moot discussion. Second thing is, you're not a man who is selfish. You're not a selfish guy. Your whole model is to sacrifice, which is to give up your needs for other people's needs. And you know, no matter what you try to tell me, or what you try to rationalize, that some part of her, even if she's a money-grubbing bitch,
She's not.
some part of her would feel a level of guilt that would destroy her life because of your wanting to get what you want, which is out from the burden of feeling this guilt.
The dilemma has almost been more than that. That satisfies one part. The other part, it destroy my mom. It would, I have loving brothers. I have a very small family. We don't, not extended, or, but it's extremely close. They're very concerned for me, and they've expressed it a lot.
The reason you've thought about it, if I may say so, and you can correct me if you think I'm completely wrong, and I'm not suggesting you wouldn't do it like you don't have the guts to do it, because it takes no guts to kill yourself. It takes guts to live. Any fucking idiot can take themselves and just run out and use some justification, because it's a great way to try to end pain. The only problem with that is, who knows what happens to somebody who takes the gift of life from themselves. Because none of us really know what happens when we pass on. Whether you believe in some religious version or not, there is nothing in the world that ever gets destroyed. Everything just changes form. So I know that you're not really selfish. I know you really want love more than anything. I know you've been driven by significance. And I know also that by sincerely, and I know this has been sincere, so don't get me wrong, I'm talking about the difference between your conscious thoughts and your unconscious thoughts. Consciously, I know you've truly considered this option. But unconsciously, you could never go there because you're not a destructive person to others. So you would not hurt your mother and your brother, and you would not put the guilt in this woman's mind. You would not do it. But by considering it consciously, you do accomplish something else. You give yourself severe enough pain that you think you deserve for hurting someone this badly. Yep. And you show others, even though you don't say you're going to commit suicide, just by the state, since you're really considering it, that you don't take this lightly and that you do care at the deepest level. And so it's a form of repentance is that you've been trying to do by punishing yourself. At the deepest level, there could be no greater punishment besides the loss of your identity.
There's other things I would add to it, but yes, that's the essence. It's been unlivable one way, it's been unlivable the other. And,
but it has to be lived.
And that's so far, at times, not always, because I've utilized a lot of the materials I've learned from you and others.
Yes.
A great deal. So it's not unlivable at all times.
I know.
It's just, I don't ever know when.
I know.
So, I wake up about every hour and a half, and I wake up with the thoughts of this last year, and many other years, because it's not just this last year. I realized one of the things I wrote in the letter to myself was, I was a company's chief financial officer, I was damn good at it. So I had all kinds of people always tell me how great I was with money. And for the company I was. And for myself, it just sucked. I'm just not good at it. And I finally wrote it down. I'm really not good at this money thing. And it's just...
Ladies and gentlemen, man, that's a breakthrough.
Jim is lightening up with self-deprecating humor. Robbins reinforces this small breakthrough by asking for audience applause.
What are you good at, though? You're good at something to have accomplished all that, even though you're CFO and you're not good with money. Now, that is an achievement.
I was.
Tell me how you accomplished that, because that is amazing, because you're good at something.
Actually, I had the privilege over the 13 years with the company. I grew it from $2 million to $24 million. We serve... I say the following, so the context of what my job was, not about... We served children and adults with disabilities, and I always loved that what we do wasn't, we put out 400,000 tires this year, and last year only did 300,000 tires, or, you were able to buy another yacht with our money, and I don't mean you personally. It's whoever owned the company can go buy a new toy. I mean, we had a huge difference in people's lives. And what I was good at in my job, I had the privilege to really create my job from, when I started, there was just myself as an actual staff person and 2 temporaries. I ended up hiring them on, and later they changed. And I ultimately had about 16 or so staff, but we grew from 19 employees to 650. And we served over 2,000 people a day, very intensely. We had after-school programs, but not a once a week. It had a little meeting. I mean, we had medically fragile and severe disabilities, and we had staff that were just awesome. They still are, but economic times caught up with our charity, and the California work comp and insurance and on. It just was a killer to our business.
Everybody needs a compelling future, and men must have a clear mission and a way that you could be even more significant than you have been in the past. Now, anyone I've ever known who's truly successful, or any good story I've ever been to, has the second act. In the first act, the person succeeds enormously, and everything looks perfect, and right at the peak of it going really great, what happens? The unthinkable happens, doesn't it? Some horrible thing outside their control happens, and it destroys everything. They lose their love, they die, or their business goes crazy, or they lose the game, or everything disappears. I mean, this is fairly predictable. We even know about what stage it happens. Usually about, not quite halfway, usually half to 2/3 of the way through the film, right? How old are you?
49.
Oh, so we're not even halfway through. We're halfway, 2/3 of the way through the film. Yeah. Okay, that's good. And right then, the worst thing happens, and the character becomes despondent, and the character thinks there'll never be another future, and it's over, and they can never do this again. And the worst thing you want to do is start over, because if you use those words, it's too overwhelming, because you don't even know where the fuck you could do that, because you don't even know if you could do it, because what if it was a fluke the first time? I mean, it wasn't a fluke, but to be able to find that kind of vehicle again and make it all come together and all that stuff, plus the total shame of all the losses and all the disappointments and the loss of love and the loss of identity and all those pieces. So I had to just check out. And some people's life stories are warnings, and they do check out. But most films are about something that inspire. And the only reason they inspire is because the person went through the worst fucking enemy they can imagine. They dealt with the external enemy of the people they felt played a role in that process. They dealt with the intimate enemy, like their sister-in-law. And they dealt with the internal and their mom and everybody else that would be affected. And they deal with the internal enemy within themselves that's saying, life's not worth living, and at the same time, I really do want to give, and at the same time, I can't. At the same time, I got to live, but I just can't live. And they go through all these fucking battles. But eventually, there's a self-revelation if they decide to stay in the game. And the revelation allows them so they don't have to build another thing. They don't have to make all the money. They just have to do what's right at the next level. And they learn all kinds of ways. Some of them actually go to that woman and they say, I'm going to work and you get 50% of everything I earn, whatever the fuck I do, if I have to be a janitor until this is done, and I will find a way to make it back. I will build some of the business, I will do it. You can hate me, you can do whatever it is, but I will do everything in my power to do it. I even considered suicide, but I wouldn't put the guilt on my mother. I don't think you'd have that, and I'm not that weak. You know, I'm here to stand here and be accountable. So that's what some people do as an example.
Robbins reinforces once more the directive to start over and gives Jim his revelation. The only way to regain his sense of significance is to be accountable, not to hurt anyone, and to pay his debt, no matter how hard he has to work to do it. If Jim can return to his higher mission of contributing beyond himself, his sense of significance will regenerate on its own.
What some people do is they figure out of all those processes that, holy shit, this is a great gift. I've been trying to be something I'm not my whole life, so I can't feel all the love and connection because I got to constantly be positioning for significance. And on top of it, I got to be good at numbers when I'm not. What I'm really good at is creating relationships and empowering people. That's how I actually built this, is I empowered people and I cared so much and we served so many people and I had a higher mission, so power moved to me. So if I got back to a higher mission, not just about myself anymore, then power would move to me. But power can't move to me as long as I'm focused on myself. Now I have a right to have felt this way. In fact, not only do I have a right, but more importantly, I need to prove to myself that I am not some person who doesn't give a shit, that I take these things seriously. So I've taken myself to the edge of being suicidal, but it's time to get back in the game so that I can give back. Because I don't want to cheat all those people that used to be helped by me in the company that I was involved with when I can still bring it. And I don't have to actually fund it to make a difference. I could just volunteer once a week. And I could make a difference that's directly associated. And I could have that same feeling I had before, and I could become part of a team and not have to be self-significant. And I could also gradually build something significant that I'm proud of in that area. Or maybe the significance is just one person I'm here for, like my mother, caring for her and loving her, instead of being inside myself about how to run away.
By speaking in the first person, Robbins introduces new options, showing Jim what he would do in the same circumstances and allowing Jim to identify with him as a successful businessman. Reframing the suicide thoughts as going to the edge and back, Robbins gives Jim a way back to life as he defines his original mission, to help others.
So some people do that. And what some people do is they do all that while they plot and plan, and they try something and it doesn't work because your plan usually doesn't work, and they do something else, doesn't work, and finally they do something new. And the something new ties in their real ability to care about people, to connect, to really focus, to inspire or support or empower people to such an extent that some new opportunity comes up because you're vibrating from a level of energy that's so high that great things come to you, and then all of a sudden we go for another run. And another run, maybe it's done in 4 years, or maybe it's done in 10, but who gives a shit? It becomes a much better story, and in fact, that story is the one they write about in the business magazines. They don't write about the dumbass person who just went from this to that and never had to do anything. They write about the ones that went through fucking hell and back, lost it all and came back. Those are the stories that inspire people, because otherwise it could have been a fluke. And that may be the fear that some people have, that it was just a fluke. But it's not a fluke when you care that much.
Robbins elevates Jim to the category of an inspiring hero to be featured in a magazine if he has the strength to come back from the edge. He invites Jim to find his self-esteem, not in external success, but in his ability to act according to his highest values and purpose.
When you care that much, it's not a fluke. But if you really care that much, you got to keep caring. You can't stop caring because it's now difficult. And you can't stop caring because you made mistakes. And you can't stop caring because somebody's hurt. You got to care more. And caring more has to start with you, because if you don't care more for you, there'll be no resource called you to take care of her or him or them or all of those. And so some people have to decide to create a compelling future and say, I'm not going to live here anymore. I have made myself know I'm serious, and I will have to eat some crap along the way. But you know what? I'll eat it, I'll spit it out, and I'll take in something new. And what I'll do now is start to build something. I don't even know what it is. I'll do what's next, and then I'll do what shows up next. And as long as I do it from a place of gratitude and love, as long as I do it from a place of wanting to serve and not guilt, then something higher will keep coming to me.
In order to be able to serve others, one must start by taking care of and loving oneself. When one can balance love for oneself with love for others, one can integrate the need for significance with the desire to contribute.
If you keep punishing yourself, you will destroy your mother, who's right now scared shitless, and it's not fair.
No, she doesn't know.
She knows. Don't you tell me your mother doesn't know.
She's concerned, but no, I don't.
You are bullshit. You don't understand women clearly.
No, that's for sure.
Okay, well then. How many women think she knows on some level? Raise your hand. Okay, take a look around you, my friend.
When Jim was in despair, he was not identifying with the feelings of the people he loved. He thought he could just check out without hurting them. By showing him that his mother knows and suffers, Robbins compels Jim not to hurt her.
She just knows. She's got a deep feeling inside of her of anxiety about you. And she doesn't deserve that. You're supposed to be her son. You know, and so
before you
don't need to make it more comp. You don't need to stack guilt. You need to start making progress. And you can do that immediately. But what you got to do is you got to stop this piece and understand that you don't need to show yourself how significant the problem is and beat yourself up. You need to take care of yourself so that the resource of you can serve all these people you love. And then you'll start loving yourself again.
I can see that. I have shown up as much as I could.
Shown your mother as much as you could?
No, I said I've shown up as much as I could daily, and also recognize it's been way short of what would...
No, it's not. It's been short in a couple areas financially, and the consequences are huge. It has not been way short, or all the people wouldn't have been saying goodbye to you with all that love in their hearts.
No.
That's bullshit.
I'm not talking about that.
What are you talking about?
I'm in a different era.
Way short, what are you talking about?
Like, for instance, for so many people just said, the concept, just get over it. Just get another job. I've had a few interviews, but the whole process, I'd lost so much. I felt I'd lost so much of who I was and what I...
No. Here's what you lost. You lost the title.
Yeah.
You lost people respecting you
the
for
purpose.
Something. You lost the title. You lost people respecting you for something you're not.
Respecting me for something, what do you mean?
Yeah, for being so significant as a financial master.
No. Actually, they didn't sit around and say they respected me as a person.
Yeah, and so they still will if you have integrity and step up.
It wasn't about all the finance. It was about who I was in the job, not about the junk that I did.
When someone is overwhelmed by feelings of loss, it is important to be very specific about exactly what has been lost. As Jim started lamenting his lost identity, Robbins quickly disagreed. Jim had only lost some external circumstances, his title and the admiration that came with it. As soon as Robbins itemized these circumstances, Jim recovered emotionally and responded that he had not even lost the admiration.
And that was what was so incredible in leaving these folks.
So it's time for a new purpose, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
If you already had that new purpose, how would you feel?
Just like so euphoric, and not just this kind of environment. I always come out. I mean, I love bringing out the being human part of being of a human being, and it's such a turn on. I love life. I love people, and I've been really interested in figuring out how to let them love me, where I take it in and I get it. But
you're really interested in that part.
Oh yeah.
A good question to ask yourself in key moments when things are difficult is the question Robbins just asked Jim. If you already had a new purpose, how would you feel? The mere fact of asking the question brings you closer to the possibility of having a new purpose. In answer to Robbins' question, Jim responds with great feeling as he expresses the emotions that give his life its purpose.
It's
so you know what?
It held me back a lot in my life.
So the reason you're still in pain
I'm sorry?
The reason you're still in pain is you're still operating from the same model of the world, where you do something significant so that you're worthy of love, and then you can eventually have it. And God's beating you on the head saying, dickhead, dickhead.
A crisis is always a sign that there is potential for growth. The life solutions that have served Jim in the past are not working for him now. Robbins is asking Jim to wake up and learn new ways to accomplish what he needs.
Are you going to live in the past? Because if you do, there's no future. That's what it comes down to. If you're going to live in the past, there's no future. And there's no future, then everyone in your present is going to be punished.
I'm committed to being here and taking what I get.
No, that's not it.
Well, I don't know that that's not the best I can offer you unless we talk about it some other way.
The best you can offer me is your real best. Your real best can resolve this.
Well,
your real best, not the artificial best. Because you've gotten trapped now in going into those unresourceful emotions that have allowed you to feel a lot of things you've not felt. You've just stacked yourself into a place that's just insane. So close your eyes. Do you know how to burp?
Burp?
Yes.
Yeah.
Give me a good cannonball burp.
I don't know that I can burp on command, but I know. I guess I was answering. I know what a burp is.
Okay. Well, I'd like you to burp if you would on command. Let's see if you can do a cannonball burp. Use the microphone. It'll help. No, I didn't say fart. I said burp. Is there someone here who can show him how to burp very quickly? I need someone who don't raise your hand unless you can do a cannonball burp, an explosive burp that there's just no question. Do we have a volunteer back there? Yes.
It seems bizarre to focus at this point on the act of burping, but Robbins realizes that Jim is so tied to his story of pain that mere discussion is not enough. He has to radically change Jim's physiological state, and he will use the burp as a tool. Watch how effective this is in changing Jim from defeated to victorious.
Here, shh. Listen. Shh. Let's see if we got a cannonball burp back there. Okay. No, right back. First, I got one there. Shh. Go ahead, sir. That's pretty damn good. One more over here. Did I see one over here, sir? Where's the gentleman here? Yes, sir. Can you outdo that one? Can you outdo it?
Possibly.
Okay. Oh, possibly.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, go for it. That's if you don't succeed, try again, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a hand for persistence. Could either one of you teach him how to burp? Could either one of you totally confident you could teach him to burp? In other words, you're conscious of your skill. Sir, are you conscious of your skill? Do you know how to do it? Could you teach him? You, sir.
Yeah.
Well, go over here. Come over here by him and teach him. Please give him a hand very quick. Women dance, men stand and burp.
The small physical task of burping, which Jim had not been able to do, became a metaphor for other things that Jim had never learned because it was too awkward or too embarrassing.
Okay, notice what he's doing. Watch him very closely, Jim.
Okay, so, Okay, so basically what you're going to do is take some water, swallow it kind of hard. You're going to do it with some breath also. So take a deep breath, hold it, and swallow it. And then you're going to swallow it nice and hard. You feel that? Feel it building up in your stomach?
Just in your mouth.
Yo, you're going to swallow it.
So it's just in your mouth.
You're gonna.
Have him take the little nipple thing off that.
Yeah, take the nipple off. And then just start swallowing the water nice and hard and feel it in your stomach, including the air. That's it. Yeah, chuck it down. Now take some breaths and swallow the breaths.
There he did it! Give them both a big hand, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a hand!
Throughout the conversation, every time Jim became emotional, he suppressed the emotion in his throat. By asking him to burp and later on even giving him lessons in burping, Robbins shows him how he can release his emotions and also lighten up. In this way, Robbins challenges Jim's physiological state of suffering and repression into release and humor. The audience applause and laughter reinforces the process.
Jim, how did that feel?
Well, the burp,
Yeah.
the burp felt insignificant. Actually, it was very tiny, but I got one out.
Yes. That's good. Well, it's the first step. Things usually start small.
Yeah.
Isn't that how you started your business? Isn't that how that business started? Small?
Yeah.
Grew to something big?
Yeah.
There's a future for you here. Now, you thought you had to make a lot of money and be very important to get people to love you, and you just had 1,500 people from 51 countries love you for burping. Jim, do you think they really loved you for burping?
No.
Well, why did they love you?
Same reason I love them.
Why is that?
A connectedness. We're the same. We are all the same. So when the people came over and they were clapping and hugging for you, some part of you knew that it wasn't really for burping. Oh yeah. Well, I asked you the question. You're talking about the burping or the other. You said the burping, so I responded to that.
Yeah, no, I know. But that's kind of the same thing as like what your whole business career was like, only you forgot.
I know a lot of what's driving me. I believe this is an honest assessment when I've thought about this. If I had no debts, and that I just mean if I lost all my assets, but I didn't have obligations to other people, it would be entirely different.
I know, and you know what would happen then? You would not fucking grow to become the man you're about to become. You have no reason to. That's like saying, the ocean would be fine without any fucking waves.
Yeah, okay.
Thank God there's wind going against the water. Thank God for this conflict. Thank God, or you wouldn't fucking grow. You would have been stuck in a place where you'd never experience the joy you really want to experience. You'd never give the love at the level you're really capable of giving. You've given a lot. You've not even begun to give your love because you haven't given enough to yourself. So the love you've given had a shallow depth. It's there, but it hasn't had its full depth. And people were impressed by the first 4 or 5 feet. But when you show up as the person you really are, which will only happen because it has to happen, because you don't have a choice. Because if you could just sit back and be comfortable, frankly, you would. But you don't have that choice. You have to show up as who you really are. You have to find that depth inside. You have to go until you have to find that stuff. You can't just say, okay, well, I could just have my love and I don't have to do anything because I don't need money, so I can just do little things I like to do. You're going to have to do shit you don't like to do. That's part of the masculine energy. And that's who you are. So thank God you all this money. Thank God you're in this fucking hard-ass place. It takes this much that you need a big baseball bat on the side of the head to fucking get this lesson. And you've already given some because you think I'm only talking to you right now. Because you're the only man in this room who needs this lesson. And you're not going to get better crying about what was. And you're not going to get better being guilty about what it was. You're going to be better when you just step up and do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And before you know it, the next thing will lead into something more compelling than you can even make up right now. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree with you. Right now it's conceptual, but I
understand.
agree with you.
So let's not make it conceptual. Close your eyes.
Intellectually, Jim has agreed that he must get out of despair and face the future. However, experiencing the emotions that will drive him forward is more difficult. He has blocked positive emotions for so long that it is now difficult for him to access them on his own. Robbins will guide him through a visualization during which he will experience the positive emotions that are necessary to create a compelling future. It will be the repeated stacking of joyous memories that will give Jim the power he needs. This exercise is universally valuable for all kinds of people and all kinds of circumstances. You may want to stand up and go through the experience yourself as you listen.
I want to think of any moment in your life in which you really felt happy in your core. Any moment. I don't care about the details. Just reach out and pull it and bring it in. No one else in the room should be doing this, only you. Think of any great happy memory in your life at any time and just reach out and grab it and bring it into your body. Physically reach out and bring it in where it actually touches your chest and you feel it come into your body now. Feel it. Nod when it's there. Make a little sound of any sort.
It's there.
Okay, good. And then reach out and grab another really happy memory and bring it in right now. That's it. And bring in another happy memory of any time in your life. It could be a stupid memory, a silly memory. Any memory, any time in your life. It can be the littlest thing. It doesn't need to be big. Reach out and bring it in. And this time feel all three of them inside you simultaneously. That's it. Breathe it and feel all three simultaneously. Now I want you to think of a time in your life, a very, very, very crazy time in your life, but it was crazy fun. Reach out and think of a crazy fun moment, just a moment. Could have been a kid, adult, doesn't matter, bring it in. Crazy fun. And I want you to reach out and grab another crazy fun moment. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's so fun. And you pull it in, just something you didn't expect. You pull it in and feel it. And feel those combining together. And feel the first three and feel them all starting to vibrate in your body simultaneously. That's it. In your heart, in your head, your shoulders, in your neck. Feel them vibrating, moving around in there. Moving all the way down your legs, lower back, the stomach, chest especially, shoulders, neck, front of you, the forehead, the eyes, the nose. Now I want you to think of a time with friends or family that you really enjoyed. Anytime, friends and family, bring it in. Feel it. Think of another great time with friends and family in any area of your life and actually feel it come into you. Feel it. feel the feelings of that time. And think of another great time. This time I want you to do a time that you spent as a kid that was really, you were getting away with something and you were having fun. You're doing something, you kind of got away with it. Or maybe you didn't get away with it long term, but right then you thought you were and it felt good. Reach out and grab that thing, you were getting away with it and you did it. Bring that in. The playfulness of that. And then I want you to think of a very sexy moment from your life. Any moment. Just that moment only, nothing else, and just bring that sexy moment in and feel it. That's it. And bring in another really sexy moment from your life, really sensual, sexy moment, any moment. Could have been just something real simple, but in that moment, it felt incredible. Bring it in. I want you to think of a moment of desire where you really desired something. You really, really desired something, wanted it. Oh, you really wanted it, and you were excited about it. Reach out and grab one of those moments and bring it in. That's it. I want you to think of a sacred moment, like a moment where you felt connected to God, where you felt like, in that moment God had come through you and it guided you during a time which seemed so difficult. Reach out and grab that moment, that sacred moment, and bring it in. And feel all of them now vibrating. The sexuality, the spirituality, the happiness, the family, the love. Think of another moment, a really sacred moment, a time we felt close to God, and bring that in as well. Bring it in, feel it. Time in which you felt guided. And let it go through your whole body now, vibrating in your cells. The energy of that spiritual moment, vibrating through everything. As it vibrates through, let it vibrate through any part of the body that it felt tight or dark or heavy. Make sure that it vibrates so fast that there's a lightness that starts to happen in various parts of your body where you can physically feel it. Make sure that sexiness goes around as well. Make sure that loving feeling goes around. Now I want you to think of a moment in your life in which you felt proud of yourself. Reach out and feel that feeling of being proud. Any moment in your life, could have been as a kid, like doing something silly, but you felt proud. Bring it in. Yeah, feeling proud. Think of another moment in your life when you felt proud at any age, adult or as a kid. Bring it in. Reach out and really bring it in. Proud. And breathe the way you're breathing then, now. Think of a moment in your life when you felt proud and you were certain. And reach out and bring that moment in. A moment in your life when you felt proud and you were certain that it was going to be even better in the future. That's it. Bring that into your body. Think of another moment where you were certain that you were going to make it happen, that even though everything was against you, you'd find the way. There have been moments in life like that, haven't there? Where you felt like there was no way, but somehow you found the way. Reach out and take that feeling of finding the way and bringing it in. And find another situation in life where it seems so difficult, but you know what? You found the way, or you were guided to the way, and bring that one in as well. Reach out and grab it and bring it in. You found the way, or you were guided to the way. It seemed impossible. That's right. Think of another time. This time I want you to think of a time when you're filled with laughter. Something happened that just made you laugh from just where you couldn't stop laughing. That's it. Bring that in. Think of another time when you felt like you just couldn't stop laughing, and bring that one in as well. Maybe one where you laughed so hard you coughed, or you spit up something, or something came in. Bring that one in as well. Feel that and let that laughter now vibrate. Let it vibrate through any part that was heavy and make it light and free. Now, I want you to step in the future as if God was guiding you, and I want you to bring some memories from the future right now. Feel that energy in your body. Reach out, and I want you to bring a memory from the future, a memory of what's coming, something that's going to make you feel so happy. Reach out and grab it. A moment you'll feel proud again. Feel it and bring it in right now. And say yes when it's in.
Yes.
Feel it. Feel that memory as if it's happening right now. Reach out and find another moment from your future in which you will feel proud of yourself, proud of your life, proud of what's happened. Reach out and grab it and bring it in. Feel it. What's there, say yes.
Yes.
That's it. Enjoy it. Feel it. Know it's real. Think of a moment in the future, another moment in which you're going to feel like you've really achieved something you're proud of. One more of those for the future. Anything at all. It could be little or big. Bring it in and feel it. And when it's there, say yes.
Yes.
Feel the vibration of that in your whole body. Now I want you to reach out and find a loving moment from your future, a moment of love or happiness, and bring it in. Bring it in. Feel it again. One you're looking forward to. I want you to think of another moment in your future that's going to make you so happy. It's a moment that's going to make you so happy. It's in your future. Bring it into this moment. Reach out and bring a moment that's going to make you so happy. Bring it in right now. A happy moment for your future. Such a happy moment. Feel it. Oh. When it's there, say yes.
Yes.
That's it. Now bring in a moment in the future where there's more gratitude in you than you've ever had in your life. A moment for the future where you're so grateful. A moment of celebration and gratefulness. Feel what that event will be and bring it inside right now to that moment of such gratitude, such gratefulness, such thankfulness. Bring it in and feel it. And when it's there, say yes.
Yes.
Feel it. So grateful. Reach out and grab another moment. You're going to be so grateful. So a moment that will be a moment of celebration, but a moment in which you'll be so thankful. Reach out and grab it and bring it in. Feel it vibrate through your whole body, your eyes, your face, your nose, your back, your spine, your arms, your fingers, your stomach, your lower back, your legs, your feet, everything, all the way to your toes. And when you can feel that gratefulness moment is in your body, say yes.
Yes.
That's it. Feel it. I want you to now think of a very romantic moment from your future, a romantic moment that's coming in your future. Yes, a romantic one. Reach in the future and pull it inside right now. Romantic moment that you created in the future. Feel it right now. And when it's there, say, oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Think of a sexy moment from your future. A sensual moment from your future. Reach out and make it really sexy, something to look forward to. Sensual. Bring that one in and feel it. Feel it in every location. And say, oh yes.
Oh yeah.
That's it. Reach out, might as well get one more. One from the future, totally sexy, outrageous, playful, beautiful, magnificent, sensual moment. Reach out, bring it in. Feel it in every part of your body. Feel it invigorate you, bring life to you. When it's there, say, oh yes.
Oh yeah.
That's it. Good. Feel it. And now think of a fun time that's coming in your future, a fun time with family or friends, time that'll be fun in the future. Reach out, grab that fun time and bring it inside. When it's there, say, of course.
Of course.
Think of another fun time with family or friends in the future. Reach out and physically feel it and bring it in. When it's there inside of you and you can feel that fun time with your family or friends, it feels so wonderful. Just say, of course.
Of course.
That's right. And think of one more great fun time that you're looking forward to with family or friends in the future. No matter what else is going in life, that's always there. Reach out and grab it and bring it in. Really bring it in and feel it and enjoy it. And when it's there, say, of course it's here.
Of course it's here.
That's right. And then feel like everything you can imagine that you wanted to have happen in the future is going to happen. And you all have 20 seconds. Go as fast as you can. Bring one in after another. And after each one, feel it. Even if it's faster than you can see, bring them in. Use both hands or use one, but do it fast. One after another after another. Any image of love, sensuality, happiness, laughter, fun, bring them in. Each time you do it now, make a little sound of some sort. Make a little sound with each one. Go ahead. Yes, or a sound. Feel it. Another one. And another one. That's it. And another one. And another one from your future now. And another one. And another one. And do it faster now, a little faster. And make some sounds as you do it now. Make some sounds as you do it now. Make some sounds and say something or make some sounds, either one. You got 10 seconds left. Pour it on. Bring them in faster. So it's overwhelming. So many great memories from the future. Feel them. 5 seconds. Pour it on. Again, again, again. More sound.
And then celebrate the life that's yours in your body right now. Celebrate the life that's yours that you're coming to in your body.
As Robbins guides Jim from his moments of joy in the past to his moments of joy in the future, Jim is able to experience the joy of the present moment.
Oh, yes. Very nice. Grab a seat. So, Jim, let me ask you a question. What's the future like?
Joyous.
Yeah.
Loving.
What'd you see? What'd you feel? Give me a hand, first of all. What'd you see? What'd you feel?
Love and connection with a lot of people, family, friends, and people I've never met yet. You know, yeah. So a lot of images, and some with kids. A lot of traveling, places I haven't been, and scenic. Just, you know, not so much sunrise by itself, but a lot of people in it.
Ah, that's nice. That's very nice. Give me a hand for that. Very nice. Very nice. So Jim, what's your new nickname?
When one has experienced a powerful change in thoughts and emotions, it is useful to give that state a name to plant it more firmly in one's consciousness. Jim has rediscovered the love and the joy that have always been his primary driving force. He now takes on a new name that will remind him of who he truly is.
Starting now.
Something about joyous or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Tell us what it is. Joyous Jim?
Joyous Jim.
Joyous Jim, ladies and gentlemen. Is that because you don't take anything lightly? Or is that because you know that joy is the only way that you'll be able to create all that everyone deserves around you, including yourself?
I know that's the only vehicle, the only path that is going to be worth the journey.
That's right. Do you know why angels fly? Because they take themselves lightly.
I should have got that one.
Now that you're Joyous Jim and you're on the comeback trail, maybe it's not even comeback. Maybe now instead of having to go back and repeat the same thing, you can do something completely new. How would that feel?
Feel good.
Yeah. In fact, you know what you may discover? It'll be 100 times more freeing than going back and doing the same stuff again.
Yeah, I'd actually have to correct. I'd say it'd feel great.
Very nice. Give me a hand on that. That's good.
Tony,
yes.
I thank you and thank all of you very much.
You're welcome, Jim.
Jim stood up earlier that day in the midst of suicidal despair, feeling that he had lost it all. He presented suicide as a viable solution to his financial dilemma. He believed that by killing himself, he would restore the money to his friend Laura, recover his honor, and end his pain. Robbins took the time to truly understand Jim's predicament before making the ethical commitment that he would report Jim's death as a suicide in order to protect Laura from a life of guilt and shame. By eliminating Jim's imaginary justification for committing suicide, Robbins forced Jim to confront and change the beliefs that led him to suicidal thoughts. While Jim had hoped that he could commit suicide in an honorable, benign way, Robbins showed him that it is impossible to kill yourself without committing a devastating act of aggression to the people around you. Far from being an act of self-sacrifice, suicide was actually a way to shift his own burden of guilt and shame to Laura and the others who loved him. Jim recognized that he had to bear his own burden, take care of Laura and his mother, and win back his honor by doing what is right. Robbins also helped Jim find a compelling future and success that was based on love and contribution without all the hang-ups about feeling worthy. Jim agreed with this but still felt emotionally blocked. So Robbins took him through an emotional exercise for visualizing a satisfying future for himself. Stimulated by this exercise, Jim broke through his feeling of despair and felt intense joy and hope. Jim is no longer in danger of committing suicide. However, Robbins is not quite done with him and will invite him on stage for a second intervention called a values clarification, which will be the subject of another film in this series. In the first intervention, Jim overcame his hopelessness and visualized a future for himself. In the next intervention, he will have an opportunity to prioritize his life values and undergo a rigorous self-evaluation where he learns how to experience success on a day-to-day basis. You will be led through this process yourself and will have an opportunity to understand your values and your way of meeting your values in an entirely new way.
When I started, I had $400. That's it. And so some people would construe that as, well, then you might have to tap your retirement fund, or you got, that's what's, that I'd already done the retirement fund. I'd sold everything I had. I owned my car. That's it. I had $400. And a lot of debt, but at least I had the cash, and that's where I started this business from. And I've got about 100, I'd have to go total it up, but right now I have about $120,000 to $150,000 on the books that in the following 2, 3, 4 months should come in.
Depression's no joke. I wasn't so much, I guess I was in depression, but I've known others that are in it. When you're hopeless, it's not a theoretical discussion. When you're hopeless, there ain't no hope. Part of what was so troubling up at that juncture was I was very clear I'd made a huge difference in many people's lives in my lifetime, because I've set out to do that. But what I didn't know was how to make any difference in my own life. What you gave me was the willingness to just, to not give up. So what came out of it, like the overwhelming desire to pay Laura, which still is there, huge, because I've constantly paid her on time as I said I would. But but her being concerned, she's threatened, she lost what she put up, was overwhelming for her. Right. What has happened? I've used that as a driving force.
This lady was presented to me as a client. The first time I talked with her was at 11:30 on a Thursday morning. 11:30 Thursday morning. She actually didn't know she was in trustee sale. Discovered it the night before, and she was at sale for 2 that afternoon. Within that 2.5 hours, we struck a deal about my fee and what it would, take for me to help her. And not so much what it will take. It's like, hey, if I did this, are you willing to do that? Yeah. And we were both sort of like, yes. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of, yes. It's like you don't call in to go get 3 bids for the fire department.
I'm curious, how did that make you feel? Because I know when we started this conversation a year ago in front of the room, one of the biggest issues why you were considered checking out was the loss of identity because you felt responsible for someone losing their nest egg. Yeah. In this case, you just saved this woman's nest egg. How is that for karma, the fact that you stuck around to do that?
Well,
how did you make that connection?
No, I've never made that one.
Maybe it's time.
Well, thanks. So that with her, yes, I will actually let that in. I mean,
How did it feel even at the time? How did it feel?
Nervous as hell. Right. Because it's not certain your technique's going to work.
Right.
It should work.
Right.
It says it will work.
Right.
You've never done one of that nature, so we'll see.
Right.
So anyway, I went over with confidence with her and said, this should work, this is what we'll do, etc. It did. Wow. So it was, the weekend of, I don't know,
So how did it feel at that point? How did it feel at the point?
It was just, victory dance. It was, she's still in it because she's a really very nice person and undeserving to have ended up. It wasn't, she was a big flake and doesn't pay anything and all that. It's just awesome. We've been a real team to both come to a good conclusion.
What's the future for Joyous Jim?
Oh man, it's awesome, Tony. It's awesome.
I'll fix the money side, and having sufficient around racing, definitely racing. I mean, I love speed, I love motorcycles, and working with folks. Money, but the opportunities it gives. Just real involvement with people and doing what I do and having a good time.
Please stay tuned for a preview of other personal transformation films from Anthony Robbins.
As I'm sure you know by now, early this morning, our time, there was a terrorist attack in New York and in Washington, D.C.
Called me this morning at 8:56 a.m. from the 101st floor to tell me that there was smoke in the room.
I'm the director of neurosurgery at one of our trauma hospitals, and I know what's going on right there, right now.
My first reaction was, as a Muslim, hey, this is retribution.
There are people in the world today, right this moment, who are celebrating at their success of pulling off an amazing logistical nightmare.
Muslims feel, hey, listen, you came into my home, took, my home, and you kicked me out.
Neither I nor anybody I know was ever raised with the concept of being a suicide bomber.
And then you give back, like, a little bathroom to me, and I'm supposed to celebrate, and when I'm not celebrating, you come and kick my ass?
A real warrior, not a thug who calls himself a warrior so he can feel better about himself. A thug is out just to create violence. Do it again.
And it's all here in your heart, too. So if you kill, you're killing a part of yourself.
Tell me about your father.
My father was, he had rules. He lived by many rules, but some of them, like stealing and lying, he wasn't too strict upon. But when it was me, it was very strict.
I see.
At a time when her life seemed set in its course, one conversation changed it all.
How did you respond to these rules?
I sabotaged them sometimes, and then I got beaten.
Yes. And when you got beaten, what did you do to deal with it?
I couldn't care less.
Long ago, as a girl, she made a decision that has controlled her life.
You got harder, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And tougher.
Mm-hmm.
So you became a man to try to survive.
Until now.
What would have happened if you would have cried and gone crazy? You don't know.
I have a guess, because my sister cried and he stopped.
That's right.
Join Lisa as she discovers a new kind of power.
Something to feel about.
Something to feel about.
That's right.
And finds a love that she hasn't felt for 60 years. Anthony Robbins in a live, uncut, personal transformation film that won't only move you, it may also change your life. If you have ever wished to go back in time, to change the person you've become, then you must learn to reclaim your true identity.
It's the lost me that is recovered. So it's who I was meant to be.